Hi guys, it's Prasoon here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This is the 5th video and it's dedicated to International Yoga Day. And I had this blessed opportunity to attend a lecture given by my father, who is the president of the Center for the Conservation of Indian Culture in Russian Federation, and it was also dedicated to the International Yoga Day. And so much information, I absorbed sitting in that lecture. I kind of analyzed it, I digested it, and now I would like to present it to you. Not only information from the lecture, but also my viewpoints on yoga, its broader aspects, the types of yoga, and all of that. I would like to present to you in today's video. But before I do that, I would like to, take a moment of your attention and highlight that it's such a beautiful weather in Moscow, Russia right now. The sun has been shining for the 6th consecutive day, I believe, which is seldom in this region. And why this becomes even more important is because 21st of June is the longest daytime period in the northern hemisphere. And it's for this reason, by the way, that we chose to celebrate International Yoga Day on the 21st of June. It was in 2014, if I'm not wrong, when Narendra Modi, he suggested this idea in the UN General Assembly. And since 2015 onwards, we have been celebrating this wonderful International Yoga Day festival, you can say, because it is a festival. In every country that celebrates this day, people usually gather in parks, in some camps, somewhere in nature, and do yogic exercises that we call asanas. They also do the pranayamas, which are the breathing exercises, right? But in today's video, one of our aims is to highlight the more broader aspect of yoga. Now, before we do that, it is important we try and understand what does the term yoga actually means. The term yog in Sanskrit, it's pronounced that way. It literally is translated to union. Now, union with what? And who is uniting with whom? That's a question, because yog is union. When we say union, we are speaking of the union of our soul, and in Sanskrit we call the soul Atman, with the Param Brahman. And Param Brahman is the supreme being that we call as God or we call the Almighty Supreme Power. This is the Param Brahman, and the union between the Atman and the Param Brahman is Yog in general. This is the translation of the term. Once again, union is the term that is used to translate Yog in Sanskrit. So how did it come about that yoga is now being associated mostly with physical exercises and with breathing exercises, right? Well, it's quite simple, because yoga is a knowledge, it's a form of knowledge that has been transferred since generations, going back to 3,000 and more years, from one generation to another. And this knowledge is on the way of life, sustainable way of life. How do you live your life in such a way that you can get not only benefits only for yourself, but also for the society that you're living in, and also for the world in general? This is what I view as yoga, the way of life that is sustainable and that is for the benefit of everyone, not only you, where the ego is in check. As I've heard recently a nice saying in English language, your ego is not always your amigo. So this what I actually I'm trying to convey, that the way of life in yoga is not focused on you, it is getting the maximum benefits for the people around you, for the nature around you, for the world around you, and for the community around you. And this is important because we have to understand this, because yoga isn't just physical exercises. It isn't just breathing exercises or pranayamas, what we call, right? It's much more. And moreover, it has a lot of various types, because there is Bhakti yoga, there is Gyana yoga, and there is Karma yoga, and we will discuss all these types in the coming minutes on this video. Let's begin with Gyan Yoga. Now, as I said, Yoga is union. So the knowledge in this case, Gyan, means the knowledge of who is uniting with whom. So the Atman is uniting with the Param Brahman. But even more important is the knowledge of the illusory, impermanent nature of this world. In this world, because when you say this world is an illusion, this world is a matrix and whatnot, it doesn't mean it's not completely real. If you get hit on your head by someone, it pains. Or if you feel some emotional pain if something bad happens to you or your family members, God forbid, but it is there. So how can you say that it's totally unreal, right? So there is an aspect of reality to this world. We have to understand that. But the illusory nature doesn't come from that. It comes from the impermanence of the world, because the iPhone that I'm recording this video on, it's not permanent. It will go into the ground someday, right? It will spread out into its component parts someday, or even everything else that you see, the trees, the animals, the people, we all have a lifespan and we are not permanent. So the only permanent thing in this world is the Param Brahman that we spoke of, the supreme reality, and the union with that reality gives permanence to us. We feel that we are above this illusory nature. This is the Gyana Yoga aspect. Now when we come to the Bhakti Yoga aspect, and Bhakti means devotion. So it's not only devotion to the Param Brahman, to the Supreme Being, to God, right? It can be relatable for a person who has total devotion and passion when he's conducting his profession, right? If someone is devoted to his profession, someone is a good, for example, someone is a good engineer or a good banker or a good manager, right? And he is devoted to his work, right? He is not distracted by things, and he's passionately moving towards his goals, the strategic goals that he has set, because strategy is very important, and in some video we will discuss that also, how important strategic planning and strategic goal making is. But in this case, let's not touch the subject at the moment. So devotion to your profession, devotion to your family, devotion to your parents, devotion to your community, this is all an aspect of Bhakti Yoga. We mustn't forget that. The third element, or the third type of yoga, is the Karma Yoga, because we have to remind ourselves here that all of this knowledge and all of this devotion are nothing without exact actions, without an exact algorithm of actions. Because when you have a goal set, you know how to move towards that goal. You now have a plan. You know that I have to do this action today, this action on Tuesday, this action on Wednesday, and so on and so on. So you have a plan. So without karma, which means action, you never will reach to that final station, right? So if you just sit and you just meditate and do breathing exercises, well, maybe you're doing a benefit to yourself, to your health. But then once again, you have to get up off the chair, you have to take a sandwich or take something to eat, right? And you have to put it into your mouth, that food item, right? And you have to digest it, and that is once again work. You cannot just sit, do nothing, and wait for something to just fall from the skies, for I don't know, a suitcase with money from the skies. It just falls down and you're not doing anything for it. That doesn't work. That really doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. And you have to do some action to even survive, right? Forget about financial gain. If you just want to be existing, breathing and surviving, you need to do some kind of action. You need to eat, you need to drink water, you need to sleep, right? So once again, sleep is an interesting form of action, but it is also a form of action, right? So our whole life is actions, consecutive actions, one by one. And this now becomes important, because when we plan out our actions in the right way, which Karma Yoga is all about, these days there's a lot of mentors and a lot of instructors maybe, or lecturers on how to do time management, right? And they charge you a lot, but it's actually quite simple. The secret behind the yogic way of time management, according to me, is setting the right goals. Because once you have the right goals set in your life, trust me, you'll meet the right people, you will focus on the right things, on the right books. The universe will speak to you through these channels, and once you have your goals set and you are moving towards them, the whole universe will help you to achieve those goals, if those goals are not just beneficial for you and your ego, but they're beneficial for the world in general. This is what actually yoga teaches. The other thing yoga teaches in terms of the karma yoga aspect is not being attached to the results. You know, if you have given an exam and you're day and night thinking of how I gave that exam, this isn't yoga, you're stressed, your mental condition is not positive, it's not the outlook is not positive, right? So once again, here you have to control yourself. You have done whatever best you can do. Now it's not the time to worry, it's time to focus on other actions, because worrying, tension, stress, it takes your time, right? How many times it has happened to you that you think over something, you start overthinking, and the best thing that you can do is just doze off. You know, I've seen a lot of people like that. Even the most successful people, they have these kind of periods, right? So it's important that we keep this in check. So today's video was about International Yoga Day. I told you about the date in general, why do we celebrate it, the broader aspect of yoga, and the types of yoga, right? So I believe in the future maybe more relatable subjects will also pop up on my channel, but I request subscribe to my channel. Please, if you like the content, do not hesitate to put likes, maybe comment in the comments section. By the way, you can suggest some ideas to me which you feel some subjects that I must touch. I'm working on this interesting theme which is Vedic philosophy and its sort of like importance in today's world. Let's see when this comes up, but it's still work in progress. So take care and have a nice time.